Permissible here. You don't have to keep bad words a minimum. I mean, Facebook will shut us down if we don't. Nicole, great to have you, guys.
Hello, Nicole.
Hello.
Nicole, so good to have you. Thank you for joining us today. So welcome to Ops Experts Club that in fact, Nicole thought we were no longer doing, but in fact, we have been doing ever since she hasn't been showing up. So just so you know, Nicole, I'm telling you, but also it's a public service announcement for everybody that maybe have not been paying attention to my diligent emails that hit your inbox that you assume is spam bot. But just so everybody knows, Ops Experts Club happens every week still. And what happens with Ops Experts Club, we shifted away from education because you graduated 35 weeks of content. That's in the library. If you're part of Ops Experts Club, that's in the library. You went through it, man, graduated. Now they're on the backside. You guys mentioned my pitch right before we came on, and that was we've moved from just education, right? 35 week, that's there. Now we've moved into straight edification. And the way that we edify you is we bring on amazing people like Miss Nicole, we're going to talk to here in a minute, and then follow it up every other week with question and answer. So you're still able to drop questions and answers or questions in the private Facebook group. Drop your questions there. Slido's still in there. You can use that inside of the membership area, or we'll just come on. You can come on while we're doing it live and ask us questions there, and we'll do Q&A. But today, this is we've kind of moved to almost like a podcast format where we interview people we think are badass people doing operations amazingness. And we kind of are going back and forth between COOs and badass high profile EAs, and badass high profile EAs is Miss Nicole. Nicole, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes,
I was honored to be asked.
That you would say yes. Taryn's like, she's not going to say yes. And I'm like, she's going to say yes. I promise you.
Karen, you have little faith.
I do. Yeah.
Just joke. So Nicole, tell us.
You like this.
No, she loves us. I told you she loves us.
100%.
So Nicole, you should tell us a little bit about just who you are and who you EA for, because I feel like you are an EA to a CEO that's doing some powerful stuff. And you are actually a 2-part EA, I believe, right? At least that's what we hired you for. Now you're probably like a 10-part EA and you do a bunch of different things. But we had hired you initially for some brothers doing some powerful stuff. So I'll give you the platform.
That is true. My name is Nicole. I am the executive assistant for the CEO and the COO, Mr. Rohan Sheth and Rohit Sheth of Grow Rev Marketing, Inc. They are a digital marketing company. We are stationed a little bit everywhere. We are home stationed in Vancouver, BC, but we have staff in the US, and we have staff in Australia and in the Philippines and everywhere.
Yeah. I think some of the things I've been most impressed with Grow Rev, with Rohan and Rohit and what they've grown, and obviously you contributing, everybody there on that team, Jeff, all the different guys that contribute from that team, is just no holds barred, as far as like you won't be restricted, won't be constricted, like targeting the moon, like we're going for
that
it.
Is
they
so
are
true.
High energy. We will work with the top people in any industry we target, and they've done it. Like, I think they've got some of the biggest names out there that they've handled the marketing for and have done incredible jobs for, and continues to turn into recurring business and recommendations. I hear their names all over the place, and just high praise for what you guys are doing at Grow Rev. And man,
yeah, they continue to amaze me. I'm new to the industry, so I am still learning. They've been really great with me, just in helping me on that learning curve, and it's been absolutely amazing just to watch them work. They really do, like you say, they see something, they want it, they go for it, they're like, let's do this. They are no holds barred. If something seems out of whack to them, they call it for what it is. They don't hold back. They expect the best, they achieve the best, they work hard, they play hard. They are highly respected, they are highly looked up to. I admire them to the fullest. They are very opposites in terms of work, what they need, the way they work, which I learned very quickly. When in the office, when it comes to actually being an EA, I'm very much Rohan needs more hands-on. Rohit, being the younger brother, is very much more technology. So Rohit and I communicate more. Him and I could be on opposite ends of the city, and him and I could still be communicating and functioning at 100%. Rohan and I work best when we're either talking, sending voice notes.
Yep.
We work 3 feet away from each other so we can send hand signals when he's on calls, being like, hey, is this right? This is good to go.
Yeah.
It's really so different from the background that I came from, but it is absolutely amazing. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
And
such
just
a
so
great
you know,
company to work for.
obviously, I had the privilege of being able to recruit you, right? And we were able to bring you in, and we had vetted a lot of EAs. And I think that like what stood out most for me, am I loading funky turn? You hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. I think what most stood out to me about you, Rohan, you know Rohan, especially you know Rohan now, right? And Rohan, it just says it like it is. Like there's no candy coating it.
Yeah.
He can tell you like it is. And he's like, bro, she better be a badass. Like here's the bottom line is, I'm not just hiring some girl or some guy to come in and do this role. They better be a badass when they show up. And so all this pressure of shoot, I hope I bring in a badass, you know, and I just want you to know the follow-up on the back of that is Rohan has recommended me several times now for recruiting jobs and been like, my EA is a badass. Aaron brought her in. So I think there's on the one side where he holds a high standard, but I think once you achieve high standard, I feel like he's very high praise on recognizing, hey, you showed up well. So kudos to you. Thank you for not making me look bad and being the best that I knew you could be. But like this isn't your first rodeo either, right? Like you came out of like a pretty high intensity job before this as far as handling details for high profile people. So you're new to the space, but not new to this kind of work, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It came from definitely all of my history pretense, which is actually pretty cool for all the work and all the different tasks and kind of projects I've taken on here. A little bit of everything has come into play where I have been able to be helpful to the bros at hand. I came most recently, I came from a law practice where you have to be very detailed. I was very used to handling high stress situations, being kind of the calm in the storm, which here is very useful.
Yeah.
We are in the majority in the head office. We're majority men. There's a couple of us females floating around. The females are probably more calm than men are, which I have such a great laugh.
So true. That's so true.
So true. It's actually quite fun to watch. But I very much I love being that calm in that storm. You know, when they start getting, you know, really high pressure, you see them getting worked up. It's nice to be able to do those little detailed things that come in, and all of a sudden you just see their worlds just be like, oh, okay, we got this. You know, it's just those little tiny things that can come into effect. Coming from that big world where I was with a staff of 70 plus. Here we're probably at 30 plus overall. It's a different environment because so much of that is virtual and you're dealing with so many different timeframes. I've taken over dealing with invoicing and really kind of straightening that out, which has been great. A lot of the staff have really been thankful on that end. They're like, wow, you've really come in and really, you know, laid down the lines. And I'm like, hey, that's how I function. You know, there's an SOP there, and that's how it happens, and you follow it. If you don't follow it, I mean, that's like Rohan says, you know, like, hey, I've told you, and if you made the choice not to follow it, well, that's no longer on me. And you say it with a smiling face, and you know, it's people all of a sudden sit there and you don't fight fire with fire, you fight it with water. And you know, it really does make a huge difference in just culture and the day-to-day work and stress levels. And I really have seen a difference in how they function. And that makes my position as an EA feel successful.
100%. And I think, I mean, a lot of that stress, a lot of that fire comes from they're not good at what we're good at, right? Like that's the bottom line. And so all this anxiety is mounting because they feel all the pressure of all these things they know that they aren't good at. And so then it's mounting. And when you come to say, no, I got that. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. And giving them really real world examples of what you're doing, it's such a release. And I know you may not know this, but Ben and Taryn and I all snicker a little bit because before people get an EA, usually we're the EAs. Like we're like an example would be like Keith Yackey is number one. I think we're all still Keith Yackey's EA. Like Keith will text us out different requests at different point in times, but it's the same thing where it's like, depending on what our skill set is, Keith might ask each one of us to do stuff, and some of it may feel very EA-esque because Keith doesn't have an EA, and Collab kind of fills that gap for him in some ways because that's just his business model and where he's at. But a lot of it is just if you can give them back words, like you were saying, you're the calming environment. And Taryn, I feel like does this. Taryn and Ben are actually both better at this than I am, but like calming agent, like don't rise with the energy. You know what I mean? Like come in and like just keep it humble. Like, here's the answer you're looking for. And then it de-escalates things so fast. Whereas like you were saying, Nicole, if you match energy with energy, if you match fire with fire, oh man, that missionary, they have got a bucket of fire. They've been waiting to unleash if somebody would just try and match the energy. So I think it's
100%.
Like drop some of the energy. So that's really good.
Yeah. Well, especially we work with so many people, and I mean, you included, Aaron. I mean, you guys just have so much stuff going on all the time that, your brain is just going a million miles a minute. And sometimes, it just comes down to, and I mean, a lot of me and Rohan have sat down even recently within the couple of weeks, and we're continually changing and building that EA CEO relationship, and it's constantly changing, which is really, really good. We've sat down and we've been to, a lot of my role is really, it's more of I come from a design education background. So a lot of my EAing badassness comes from, I look at everything from a design perspective. You're designing an SOP, you're designing how something's going to affect people. And you got to think of those little tiny aspects of who is this going to affect? Who's my target audience? Who from different things of even, wording in an email of who am I sending this to?
Right.
What kind of language do I need to use? Am I sending this to my 7-year-old, or am I sending this to a 27-year-old who is not going to know what the term Cole's Notes is, but is going to know what the term, Twitter's link, blah, 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 blah is, which I don't even follow. So I love that. It's one of those things. Rohan and I talk a lot about core values. Another really good thing about when you find a really good match, which is so important, Aaron, which is something that even with this match that you're so good at, finding a good match between any EA and whoever they're working with is so important. Finding those core values and figuring out what those core values are, and finding someone who has similar core values, and you got to match those things. Rohan and I and Rohit and I have figured out that we have similar core values, and there are things that he, are important to him. He doesn't have time for them. Those things are also important to me. I have time for those things. I can do those things for him. So those things really work out. Something that's also really important to me, and that I suggest to other EAs trying to be, those badass BAs, is, find out what is important to your genius mind. Something that's really important to me, that, being yourself as an EA is also really important. You're going to spend most of your time in your life, or as long as you spend with this company, if you have to come to work and be someone else, it's not ever fun. I find that being playful is one of my most enjoyable traits. Rohan and I go hand in hand with that. Him and I will just make fun of most people that walk into our office, and it's really quite fantastic. But one of the other main badass things that come from a design aspect, he calls me his creative collaborator.
Yeah.
I do literally like so much. I have so many weird toolbox skills, and I encourage every EA to have that, really use all of your skills that you could possibly do. I took apart a desk the other day, and I think I surprised the guy who he left and was like, I can't really figure out how to do this. And I was like, okay. Took the toolbox, took it apart, and came back 2 minutes later, and he was like, oh.
So good though. I think that wasn't that part of an interview too, Taryn. I know you got to go. Thank you for joining us, buddy. We love having you. So, man, take care of your mouth. I know you're going to go have some oral surgery, man. I hope it goes good.
Gee,
Yep.
good luck.
Nicole, thanks for being
Painkillers.
on.
Lots of painkillers.
I know.
I told him that's like my torture. Stay out of my mouth. Yep. See you, brother. But like on your interview, Nicole, wasn't that one of the funny things that you mentioned was Rohan had a picture that was
Yeah,
sitting
he has
at
a picture
his desk,
yeah.
right?
So actually, funny fact, I just figured out how exactly to put up that picture, and that bar that I need to put up that picture is arriving today. And
That's great. So Ben, on the interview, I love Nicole. I know, Nicole, I think that exactly what you said is so true. And Ben, I know that we've been dominating, and I want to hear from you because you have a great voice in this space too. But when we were interviewing Nicole, this was the matching of energy too, like what you were saying. And I have a couple things to say to that. So there was a picture behind Rohan, and he made mention to it. He goes, "You're going to find out about me. I'm not the most handy. I'm not the best at doing some different stuff." That picture, for example, has been sitting there for the last probably, I don't know, like 2 years, and it hasn't even gone up. And Nicole's like, "My goal is, if you hire me, I'm going to hang up that picture." So that was like, because I am handy and I can do it. And I do think a lot of that's matching. And Nicole, I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but you were neck and neck with another gal that we were thinking about bringing into this role. And the key decision-making factor are all the things that you're saying right now that is so true. And that is your energy matched their energy best. This other gal, super educated, great, like very similar cultural match. But she was so mellow. I'm like, I'm nervous. These guys are going to chew her up. Like these guys are like intense dudes. And I feel like you're mellow, but like, I feel like you can rise and you can get in the ring and like, you can punch still, you know what I mean? But you're still going to back down. And like, I just think that ebb and flow of good energy. And there's some people that I interview and I'm like, I think that they're awesome. In fact, I'll probably call on them later. That's the beauty of recruiting is, hey, listen, you didn't fit here, but I'm dog earing you. I might come back and tap on your shoulder for something else I find. But I think, which that other gal I would love to do, but you were so good fit with these guys because of what you just mentioned, the ability to get a little rough and tumble sometimes, to hold the line, to be able to jab and have fun, but bring a whole skill set that they just need to complement it. So I don't know, Ben, if you have any other thoughts on that kind of end.
Yeah, I'm curious as to like what so far working with them, what is one of those skills that you thought, oh, I'll never need that, I'll never use that. And you're like, oh, it came in clutch right here. I'm curious if there's any of those weird random things outside of putting up a picture, because that is really random.
And building a desk, right? Like that's awesome.
Well, I mean, aside from other building stuff, weird skills that, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, again, coming from a design background, I find that I use a lot of odd skills. In my first actual couple days, so aside from that picture, I came in on my first couple days and Rohan was out and it was just me and Rohit. And he had a crazy schedule. So there was only like a couple of times where he could sit down with me for like an hour or two. Definitely wasn't what I was used to. I was like, okay, this is going to take some getting used to. I come into the office where Rohan is working, and no joke, I wonder if I could show you guys. We're going to go on a mini tour.
I love that. We love
so hanging underneath there we go. This black cabinet was on the floor. It's actually raised. And no joke, there was probably like 4 to 6 holes in the wall, and it was driving me crazy.
Right.
My OCD was through the roof. I was like, oh my God, what happened here?
Right.
Like, just what happened? And they were like, oh, one of the other CFOs came and sat on it, fell down. It's supposed to be a hovering cabinet. I was like, oh my God.
Right.
I can't, it's a next to black colored wall. These holes were the only thing you saw. So I was like, I gotta get this thing up. So within 2 days, I had 3 Home Depot runs later, and probably like I have a pink toolkit
Yeah.
I keep in my car that I was laughed at because I was so happy. I had bought it for my birthday, that my old toolkit was stolen out of my car. So I whip this toolkit out of my car, walk upstairs. The office is staring at me like I'm crazy.
New girl with her pink toolbox walking in.
Here I go. They're like, what is going on?
Right.
I'm drilling holes to put in to put things into studs, and they think I'm crazy. And no joke, this thing is never coming down. I'm talking like never coming down. You could dance on it. There's so many things in there. I just did the interior decorating of this office. I'm working on his interior decorating of his home office.
Yeah.
I also am working on his landscaping of his currently.
All the things.
Level EA. This is
All the things. He has a beautiful front yard, and it was actually very like Texas style. Like its landscaping was very deserty. It was so overgrown, it didn't even look like anything. But again, from a design background, I was like, I gotta fix this. People show up here, it doesn't look good for the company. So there I was, like, I was in there, dirt, hands, gloves.
Yes.
In there. Did that for a couple days. Killed a beehive. We found a wasp nest in there. Got into that.
Wow.
And I mean, on top of the regular stuff, like I'm doing all the invoicing, working with all the Excel sheets, all that fun stuff, keeping the boys organized.
Yep.
You know, I think definitely when you talk about energy, definitely someone, well, you have got to stand up to them. Me and Rohit constantly have it out where I'm like, don't you do that. I said I would do it.
Right.
I'm gonna do. Don't you go and do it right now. You're working on something else. He has trouble letting go, and you've got to get in there and be like, I'm gonna do this. I'm taking it. Don't you pull back. I'm taking it.
I love that.
And it's it's really great. Like they really are fantastic men to work for, and you gotta stay level-headed, but you gotta stay strong. There was a whole level of language that I was not used to working with Australian staff that I just didn't know existed.
Right.
I sat in a couple of those meetings and was like, all right.
Here we go.
Cool.
I love it. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes left on the show. So I think what's like best story and then like biggest hurdle, and it doesn't have to be in whatever order you want. And this is more like, we just want it to be like food for thought for people as they're considering things. Hey, this was something great that I learned or that I taught, and this was something that has been a difficult thing we've had to work through, but I feel like I'm better for it on the other side.
Do you want it grow rev related or not grow rev related?
Anything. No, it can be anything. This is Nicole.
Best story.
Yeah.
Best story is constantly being open to learn, constantly learning. Always be open for new things. Always don't ever be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't ever be afraid to introduce yourself to people. Throw yourself out there like you are, like you know what you're talking about. I will constantly throw myself into the middle of conversations and go, hi, I'm Nicole. I am Rohan ZA. I'm the executive assistant. Even at my old office, I walked around and people thought I owned that office. It was realistically, I did. I knew the office the best. If you needed something in that office, you come to me. You are that go-to. You have got to act like it, and you have got to be confident about it. If you are not confident, like you say, Aaron, you will get walked over. And once you get walked over, it becomes a nasty game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And kind of, I hate to say worst, but I mean, best learning kind of opportunity is you're not going to get along with everyone. There's always going to be either a team member or a situation that won't agree with you. You have to take those situations as they come. You have to remember that those situations aren't personal. You have to remember that you have to keep up communication. As long as you keep up communication, whether that's with your boss, with, hey, that situation that we went through yesterday wasn't great, didn't make me feel good. You got to shake those off and come back the next day and remember that you guys are going to get through it. No, if that's with people, again, you got to remember it's not personal. And again, not everybody in the world is going to get along with you. But you got to shake it off, take it as a given, and remember you got to come back every day with that confidence and stay yourself and not let those situations get to you.
I think it's so good because I mean, that's something that I'm such a feeler. I'm such a big feeler, you know what I mean? And so like, I think one of the things that weighs heaviest on me a lot of times is just the brokenness of people, like, and just like, we're in such a cancel culture where it's like, if we don't see eye to eye, I just cut you out. I just cut you off. Like I just write you off. We're done with each other. And it's like, man, the world is not a better place for just writing people off. Like, like suffer through it a little bit, realize it is going to get messy. Sometimes that's just people. That's okay. Like I'm going to believe the bigger story, the bigger picture. And that is, man, we love each other. Like sometimes it may get a little ugly. Sometimes we may not see eye to eye. Sometimes we might have some knockdown dragouts, but we're going to get to the other side of this. I'm not just going to settle on that being the story and then just 100%. Cut you off and cut you out or just leave. Because I mean, obviously, Nicole, you're so gifted. You're so talented. You could be doing this for a lot of different people, a lot of different high profile people, especially in the spaces you gain more and more experience. But it's about that. I'm going to go through the rungs with some folks and realize sometimes those are good and sometimes those might not be so good all the time, but we're going to determine we're going to get through this together. I think that's really good.
You got to take those low moments as learning situations instead of, hey, oh my God, woe is me, bad things happen. Bad things happen. That's just life. And you got to take what you can and learn from it. And life's not always butterflies and unicorns, and you got to take those moments and ride with them and know that they make you a better person 100%. Because I definitely wouldn't be as good as a person and as good as an EA I am today without having all of those bad experiences, all of those really bad leaderships, seeing all those bad cultures, getting through all those perceived things wouldn't make me as good as I am today.
100%. Ben, that's your story, right? Like, I think you are an example of that. If no one else, like of years of going through like tough stuff. And like, I feel like it seasoned you to be as excellent as you are at what you do now.
Yeah. They don't call it school of hard knocks for nothing.
100%. 100%.
You're 100% better for it.
Yeah. Well, Nicole, man, I'm so proud of you. Like, I know you don't need me to be proud of you. I know you're proud of yourself.
I love it. Like, thanks, Aaron. That means the world to me. You guys are awesome.
Man, seeing you all the way through it. And I know even in your onboarding, the guys were so crazy. When you said that, I forgot those first 2 weeks of onboarding, like Rohan's in like Australia and then like the UK. And like, we don't even know when he's coming back. And Rohit's so busy. And I'm like, is onboarding going okay? Like just super stressed for Nicole on, I hope this goes good, but I'm just so proud of how you've just leaned in and found your space and how well you're knitting with the team. So thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for jumping on with us today. And yeah,
thank you so much for interviewing me. It really means the world to me to be here with you guys. You guys are amazing. Well, love you guys. Love being a part of the ops crew.
Just don't forget every week, come back and hang out. Just
turn it Jesus, on. Thanks for the memo. You guys graduated us, and I was like, oh man, this is it.
No, it's good. It's good because when you sent out that text back to me, I'm like, I actually pushed over to Ben. I'm like, hey, I think we may need to rephrase the way our emails are going out because if Nicole is confused, there are probably a ton of people that are confused. So thank you for bringing that to our
that's great.
I appreciate you. All righty, lady. Have a great day.
You
See you
too.
guys.
Have a great day, guys.
The
Bye.